Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Got some stuff to do. I've been just running like a chicken with my head cut off today. Thought I'd pull off to the side here and run through some news that's going on, because the world is kind of getting all shook up and it's not looking good. So we need to be getting ready for things. I've talked, I don't know how many people recently, but too many to mention, of how many people really are starting to get this gut feeling that things are moving along pretty quickly and that things are about ready to kind of pop off. And then that's just the, you know, the regular Joes like you and I. And I have also heard from several people in positions that, you know, they know things a little bit more than the average person because of their, you know, whatever they have. And they're saying the same thing. So I think we're getting into a time period where we're just going to start seeing things kind of get bigger and bigger. We're in that where it's picking up speed. You know, it's built up enough energy of this whole global collapse, the collapse of the United States, to where it's kind of feeding now off of its own energy, and it's just going to keep spiraling until at some point, whatever happens, and it's just kind of fall off. And then from that point on, it's going to just be, yeah, craziness. Before I get started, I know some of you just absolutely hate me mentioning other things and advertising and all that kind of stuff. Well, this is, but it's not, because I don't get any kind of financial benefit. It's a buddy of mine right here. I've gotten to know this guy that runs this company called ironsurvival.com. Now, they do in-person tactical defense training. These guys are special forces, Delta Force, Navy SEALs, put together a crew of people that they know their stuff. I mean, they're like tier 2, tier 1 type guys, and they've developed various different courses. They do in-person training. Now, I understand some of you are all over the country, so you're not going to drive here to Southwest Missouri to do that. They also do homestead security assessment. So if you live in the area, they'll come to you and they'll assess your property. Their fees are really, really low. But for the rest of you, which is the majority, they have developed an online, basically kind of like a school. And so this may be where a lot of you can finally get a little training. I know so many people, they know they want it, they know they need it, but they're a little shy about it. You know, they don't want to be embarrassed by going out and taking some training course, and they don't know what they're doing, and they don't want to look silly, right? And because maybe some of you have never had any kind of tactical defense training. Well, they offer these online training courses. It's not as good as in-person training, but it gives you a lot of foundation to kind of get you going, and it's really cheap. And most of these courses are $40 to $45 a course. You get access to the course material for 12 months. It's not just watching videos. There's actual course material, you know, little charts and graphs and manual kind of stuff that you get with it online. So if you go to ironsurvival.com, there'll also be a link down in the pinned comment below. You can sign up. I mean, it's $40 to do a one-person CQB, or to do a $40 to do like a two-person CQB. You can do a home and farm defense type of training online. You can do a rural, you know, defense, all kinds of stuff that's really going to apply to a lot of you. So go ahead and check them out. And like I said, it's not that I'm not making anything off of it. I just know these guys. I've gotten to know them really well, and their heart. Yeah, I mean, it's a business and they hope to make money, but the real heart is taking the knowledge that you and I have paid in taxes. Uncle Sam spent millions of dollars of training these guys, and to give some of that away to you at a really, really reasonable price. So anyways, go ahead and check that out, because I think a lot of you, it's going to work great for you. Now, let's get on with the show. I know some of you just hate those little commercials. It's okay to watch the ones YouTube make you watch, but heaven forbid we listen to something that actually might apply to us and be beneficial. So Joe Biden hasn't announced. I haven't seen the actual dollar amount yet, but they're saying that the White House is set to announce a significant weapons package for Ukraine. Now remember, Zelensky's in town. Yesterday, he was at the United Nations, and he's, begging them for money. He goes before Congress, I believe, at some point. And then he's also today said that Zelensky was going around and meeting with several, big business owners, big financial funding type people, people like George Soros and Bill Gates and, the billionaires and stuff. And he's meeting with them, trying to get money from them too, because obviously he needs a few more Bentleys and stuff. But Joe Biden says that there's going to be a significant weapons package for Ukraine. This so much stuff I printed it off. I mean, I'm on it today, folks. Biden administration has also announced, for those of you that believe that we will eventually see another cough pandemic, because Joe Biden said there will be a second one, the Biden administration has announced that it is providing $600 million in funding to produce new at-home CV-19 tests. Remember those back when it was all going and you could get free at home? So what they're doing is they're going to do it again. They've allotted $600 million, and they're saying that every household can now get 4 free tests. I don't think I'll be getting any of those. Here, we've talked about this off and on for the last couple of years. Elon Musk, some of you just love this guy, and some of you, see through it. But Elon Musk has a company called Neuralink, which is where they implant an actual microchip in your brain. He says that he's doing it because we've got to have the upper edge against AI, that AI is going to control us. But if we put brain chips in our head, then we might have a chance of controlling AI. Well, it's been given approval, and they're going to start testing it out on patients. Up until just a few months ago, the reports was that they'd been trying it on pigs, and every one of them had died. So we'll see how that goes. The Pope says that the world is on the brink of nuclear war, like it was in 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis. So a world free of nuclear arms is possible and necessary, he says. So the Pope is claiming that we're on the brink of a nuclear war. And if you really start to get into the weeds of all the stuff that's really going on, that the mainstream legacy media, they completely glaze over and don't tell you on purpose. But if you dig into it, yeah, it's starting to look that way. There's a lot of tensions heating up. The United Nations chief, general secretary, he's been all over the whole climate stuff. And he says that humanity has opened the gates of hell in regards to a climate emergency. So we're going to continue to see this kind of language and continue to see the push for more regulations of your life. I mean, it's bad enough that they're regulating now stoves and washing machines and ceiling fans. I mean, now they're going to tell you that you got to drink cold coffee because it takes too much energy to heat your coffee up. When that happens, you're going to see this boy locking and loading. Finland is testing digital passports. Now, all of Europe has agreed, the European Union has agreed to incorporate digital the digital thing, the thing in this, an ID for that. But Finland is testing out passports for travel. So the world is moving that direction. It is a digital world now. That's what all of these globalists are saying. It's a digital world. You just deal with it. Just get on board and deal with it and quit complaining so much. News flash is what the headline says. Poland is no longer arming Ukraine. Well, they're no longer arming Ukraine because they're saving all their weapons because they believe that they're going to start having to fight Russia themselves. That we're seeing a growing sentiment in Europe, especially, that Ukraine is not going to be able to stop this, to win. And so the belief is that, if Ukraine falls, then Russia's just going to keep moving westward. Regardless of what your opinion is on that, it's possible, but it's always also possible that NATO does something to cause, whether you like me to say it or not, NATO has been the one that's really caused Russia to move westward anyways and start this whole thing. So there's that. Israel and Saudi Arabia is still working on a deal to normalize relations, and they estimate that it'll take probably 6 months to do this. They're still hashing out the details on the whole Palestinian thing. If Saudi Arabia really wants Israel to do something different and stop being jerks to the Palestinians, I am convinced, and this is my own personal opinion, and no one has to agree with me. I get it. But my opinion is that this is a biblical thing that we're watching. We're watching the Middle East. Saudi Arabia is a representation of the entire Muslim world. It is a representation of the whole Middle East. Where Saudi Arabia goes, most of the Middle East will go, with the exception of like Iran, because they don't like each other. But if Saudi Arabia establishes normal relations with Israel, that's a really, really big deal, I think. I may be wrong, but it is just an opinion. Been talking about this one because I think it's going to become more significant as time goes on. Armenia says that Azerbaijan's military has fired upon its border. So the border clashes between these two nations are heating up. And while most of you don't care, probably can't even find these little countries on a map, which is typical with most Americans, we have Russia backing one side and we're backing the other. So it is another proxy war. Okay, it's just another proxy war is what's happening. And then the last of my little pieces of paper, not the last thing I'm going to say, Russia says that Karabakh, whatever, peacekeepers were killed after their vehicle was fired upon. Now, this is all part of the Azerbaijan and Armenia thing. So Russia had peacekeepers, which they were actually Russian military, but they claimed they were in a peacekeeping mission, and that they were fired upon and killed, which could cause things to advance even more. Now, the other thing that I wanted to mention before I sign off, because I still have a few things to do, and I'm trying to work on my podcast. I'm so behind on things today that I'm still trying to get it finished recording and editing it. That takes a long time. The whole border with immigration and really global immigration, illegal immigration, invasion is getting worse. The island over there in Italy, that's been talked about a lot. Remember, there was like 7,000 people showed up in one day. Well, the number's now up to 18,000. And they estimate that there's at least another 10,000 either on boats or on the coast trying to get to boats to get over to this little island. Now, remember, there's only about 6,000 people on this little island. So now there's 3 times as many Africans on this island. And these Africans come from different tribes. And it has nothing to do with how bad they are or anything like that. But they are already forming little factions on this island, and violence is really starting to erupt. And, of course, they can't contain this. And what do they do with them? I mean, it's getting to the point that it's outrageous. The problem is, well, amongst many things, is that very same thing, but even in a worse way, is happening right on the U.S. border. A few weeks ago, I was listening to Michael Yon. If you don't know who he is, you should find him out. He's a former Special Forces operator, and he's an award-winning investigative journalist that has he's put a lot of focus on the border issues. And a few weeks ago, he estimated that there was about 1 million people at that time that were working towards crossing the U.S. border. Not all in one big group, but various little groups throughout South America and Latin, all that kind of stuff, that he estimated about 1 million. Well, in the last 5 days, Border Patrol says that there's been about 45,000 people crossing the U.S. border between, all the border, Arizona and Texas. There are tons of videos now out there because more people are starting to pay attention. And so there's people that are down in Mexico and Panama and Central, America, places like that, videotaping. What you can easily, clearly see are hundreds and thousands even of people, on trains, on boats, walking in long lines that are making their way towards the United States. This is not a refugee problem. This is not immigrants coming here because they need jobs. This is an absolute invasion, folks. It's not about race or ethnicity. That's just absurd, because I could fill videos full of people that are of the same race and ethnicity as many of these people crossing the border, and they will feel the same way that you and I do. So don't let anyone tell you that. That's just garbage. It's just a cop-out. This is an invasion. Some of these people, they may be coming here because they need some help. They need a leg up in life. A lot of these people are coming here because they're wanting a pretty free ride. A lot of them are coming because they're told that if they come here, they'll get all kinds of free stuff, They don't have to work as hard. The vast majority of these people that are coming are young males, 20 to 30-year-old males. And many of them are coming from other places that aren't on this hemisphere. African countries, India, the Middle East, places like that, Asia, they're coming from all over. This is an invasion. The amount of these people, when you're talking numbers in the tens of thousands every day or every few days, and even more, the odds of the amount of odds of criminal elements and even foreign nationals that's coming here to do intent and harm to this nation, like take out a power grid or poison water supply or infrastructure damage, bridges and things like that, is becoming more and more real. And yet we're doing nothing about it. We're doing nothing about it because this is exactly what Biden wants. He talked about this before he ever got elected to presidency. He talked about this. He's been talking. You can go back and find recordings of him in 2015 and 2017 saying that they wanted an open border. They wanted it to come here. The United Nations has been pushing this. The World Economic Forum is pushing this. It is happening right now as we speak. As I'm speaking this to you and as you're listening to my words, there are thousands of people coming across this border. 45,000 just in 5 days. That's a decent sized city in the United States. And if every 5 days we're adding a new city to the United States, it's going to start getting crowded. It's also going to start be depleting upon our resources, the resources that they're pretty thin right now. I mean, we're not doing very good economically as a nation. And yet we're adding tens of thousands of people a week into this country. That's going to be a bigger drain on it. The food supply, the utility supply, just the whole social services, everything, the amount of crime, the amount of disease, all kinds of things that's coming, just the change in culture that's coming into this country. It's a lot. And you can call me all sorts of names. Trust me. I've got an inbox full of emails of people that like to say awful things about me. And you know what? I don't care. I don't care. Why you're wasting your time? Because it doesn't matter to me. This is truth. And these are facts. And this is going to destroy us. Ronald Reagan once said, we don't have to worry about America being destroyed from the outside. It was going to happen from inside. And that's exactly what's happening. Not just with our own people, but the people we're freely allowing to come into this country. We're watching America's collapse right before our eyes. That's why you need to be getting ready. That's why you need to be prepping up. That's why you need to be getting this kind of training at ironsurvival.com. That's why you need to be stocking up on food, stocking up on medical supplies, getting out of these cities, getting out here in the sticks and the hollers and finding you a place to live and becoming as self-sufficient as possible and banding together with other people so that you can have a group of people to survive together with and to defend yourself and to protect yourself from all these things that are happening. It's time to get your houses in order, folks, and to prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.